Begin transmission. Hello, everybody, and welcome to Outer Rim transmission number 31. I'm joined by the full crew this week to break down some big news revolving around Hayden Christiansen returning in yet another Anakin Skywalker role, some updates on Hasbro and collecting, and finally another update on the Star Wars Hotel Galactic Starcruiser. How's it going, everybody?
I'm good, man. It's nice to be back. Sorry, everyone, I couldn't be back last week to do the commentary. You know, life gets in the way, but no, I'm glad to be back. Love to do Star Wars talk with my fellas. So yeah, let's get it started.
Yeah, it's going good over here as well. Just another week. Just enjoying Halloween coming up, watching some Halloween related things. Halloween Kills was a lot of fun, and just a fun time for that sort of stuff. And also, just to kick things off a little bit, Milton, what's your 60 seconds or so, 120 seconds thoughts on the Phantom Menace since you weren't here last week?
Yeah, I really enjoy that prequel film. I remember getting the VHS. I guess would have been late '99 when I was 11. I really enjoy that movie. If I was here talking about it last week, I would have had a lot of nice things to say. I thought that film really paved the way for how films were made moving forward. I believe The Matrix came out in 1999 as well. Mm-hmm. And I believe both those films were nominated for Oscars for their technical design, everything. It's surprising that Phantom Menace didn't win. But that film right there really launched what we see today with the MCU or DCEUs, any type of technology or CGI. We have to give credit to George Lucas and Lucasfilm and that whole crew of a team that put that film together. So I love that movie. Are there a lot of good things about it? Absolutely. Are there some things that we can criticize? Yeah. But you know what? I think it was a great start to what George Lucas was trying to tell with the prequel story and where Anakin Skywalker began and where he was going to eventually end up.
Yeah, so all of us are within a few years of each other, and we all grew up in the 90s. So we're going to see the Phantom Menace in a much more of a positive light than I think a lot of people from, a couple decades after us, or before us, rather. So, but yeah, it was a lot of fun last week, breaking those down. And just to recap for everybody joining us after the fact and whatnot, we are doing sporadic commentaries as we have slow news weeks in our podcast schedule. So we're not going to guarantee every week we're going to do one, but, we'll kind of let you guys know the day before, we always put out the posts or the day of to be like, hey, we're going to watch this today. So we'll let it be known, and it's going to be a fun time because just between me and Ben, we had so much to talk about. I can only imagine Milton as well. We'd be talking from now until midnight probably on some of these darn things. So
yeah, you're not wrong. I guarantee when we do Attack of the Clones, I'm gonna have a lot to say about that film. Honestly, I know people that's not their favorite film all the time, but there's a lot of good things about Attack of the Clones, and I think how we can break those films down can be not in such a critical way, but more in saying, hey, these are the things that people loved. Some of the fans didn't like this part of Star Wars, and that's okay. So I think it's going to be a great conversation when we start diving more into these films, whether it's from the prequels to the sequel trilogy.
Yeah, and a good thing about Star Wars is there's all this ancillary material as well as more films that actually enhance these previous movies. And that's what's the beautiful thing about Star Wars being all in one universe and having those connections is you can go back and see certain events and certain moments unfolding where you have a different lens the way you're looking at them. Even just reading some of the comic books I read, I'm like, I'm already looking at the Rise of Skywalker a little bit differently because of certain things that happened in Greg Pak's run of the comic issues there. So cool stuff there. Again, can't wait to do more commentaries, and we're going in chronological order, of course, everybody. So yeah, Attack of the Clones will be next on the docket. I do want to say hello to our chat. We have Matthew Nagerbauer here in the chat, first time in the chat. Thanks for joining us, and you can always join us live every Friday around 9 o'clock Eastern time. We are live, and you can also download the episodes after the fact on any of your favorite podcast networks. So I'm going to start off this week with my experience with Star Wars, and it's not directly related to Star Wars, but I did download and am obsessed with the brand new Marvel's Guardians of the Galaxy game. I'm playing it on Xbox, and it's very much like an action adventure narrative game. No multiplayer, just a good old fashioned, like, here's a story, play through this linear progression, but have a really good time and have a lot of quality with it. It's a brand new story. The depictions of Star-Lord and Gamora and all the characters are completely changed, so they're in their own little universe. And in the beginning of this game, you're kind of having a flashback as a young Peter living in the Midwest, and like it's actually set, unlike the MCU version, it's set in the 80s, not like the 70s like in the MCU. So one of the funniest things in the beginning of the game is your mom walks in the room and she trips on a Chewbacca toy. And it's just like, oh my God. Like they literally have a Chewie toy. And then it's funny because like later on in the game, as you see an older version of Star-Lord, there's the Chewbacca figure he hung on, even as he got abducted by the Chitauri aliens, which is how he ended up in space in this version. So I actually watched like a behind the scenes, like little commentary thing on YouTube I found of the creators of the game. And they specifically were talking about the process of like why they put the Chewie toy in there. Besides being a sentimental thing to the game director, he also said it was a great way to root the player's sense of, yes, this is in the 80s. Star Wars toys are existing alongside of Atari and all these different other movie posters and different albums that are strewn across this teenager Peter's room. So I thought that was really funny. It's like, okay, yes, of course it's owned by Disney, so they're gonna have some Star Wars references. They're gonna have some other things like Tron in there as well. So that, I thought that was pretty cool. But yeah, I'm loving this game right now. If you guys are on the fence about Guardians of the Galaxy, maybe Avengers burned you a little bit, I think Guardians of the Galaxy is really going to be a pleasant surprise this fall.
Oh yeah, I mean it looks like a really cool game for the most part from what I've seen. I watched some gameplays and I've seen you play it here and there, and it seems like it's getting a lot of buzz. And I just like the fact, like I may sound old fashioned saying it, but I think it's fun when games aren't basically just based on their multiplayer. So that's really nice that it's basically just single player campaign. Like that's really, really nice compared to a lot of games. I mean, look, Call of Duty, what's a campaign with that game? I mean, it's basically just online. So,
yeah.
It's really cool that Guardians isn't just only multiplayer focused or anything like a lot of games are.
Yeah. It's basically, if I don't want to turn this into the Guardians of the Galaxy cast because I can easily talk about this game for an extended amount of time, but it's basically, if you want to think about this game, the play style is imagine Mass Effect mixed with like a Telltale game, because there's like different decisions you can make that for instance, I could have thrown Rocket Raccoon across the chasm for him to activate this bridge, or I could have had Groot do it. And of course I chose Rocket, and he just goes crazy, and now he has like a grudge against me later on, hours down in the game. So like really cool things where it's like, oh, I wonder what would happen if I had done that decision. But then the way that the actual game is, it's a Guardians of the Galaxy's game, but you're only controlling Star-Lord. But since you're kind of the leader of the group, you actually like give commands to your people real time. So you could be like, Gamora, do your slash move while Groot roots the people in place so they can't run away. And then Rocket blasts them away from a range. So it's really fun. The humor is probably even better than the MCU's version. Like this game is damn good. So yeah, I can't say highly enough things about it, but that was my week in Star Wars there.
Nice. Well, I'll go second. So this was going to be mine for last week, but I just rediscovered this. So the other day I was on my phone and I was looking through my old notes, and I forgot that around the time The Last Jedi came out, I decided to write my own opening crawls. Oh. And I found them still here. So I wrote one for episode 8, which was The Last Jedi. And then we didn't know what episode 9 was going to be called. So I wrote one for episode 9, and I called that movie Star Wars Episode 9, The Fallen Knight. And then I wrote one for episode 10, and I called that Star Wars Episode 10, Shadows of the Sith. Okay, so I'll read you my Last Jedi opening crawl here, okay? All right, it says, Luke Skywalker has been found, and the First Order is crippled. With the destruction of their super weapon, the Starkiller base, many factions within the rogue organization has been broken. Yet the galaxy and New Republic is still in crisis due to the Senate's elimination. After his recent defeat, Kylo Ren has reunited with his master, the ominous Supreme Leader Snoke, on Mustafar, to complete his training and exact his obsessive revenge on Rey, a hero of the Resistance. Hoping to learn the ways of the Force, Rey will have to confront her greatest fear. Little does she know, in his exile, Skywalker has discovered an ancient mystery in the Force that will change the ways of the Jedi and the galaxy forever. What do you guys think?
I like
that's
the
actually
fact
pretty
that
good.
you focus on Kylo's training, because that was something
Yes.
I wanted to see, and we didn't really get that.
Yeah, I wrote that like 4 years ago, and again, I couldn't believe that I didn't I forgot about it, and then I was like, man, and actually, I remember tweeting at the Ryan Johnson, I think, because I was like, yo, Ryan, is this like what you're gonna say for your movie? And so I don't know, I just wrote that. I think I was in graduate school around that time, or I think I just got done. See, I would just write these out. I'm thinking, oh, this is what I would write the movie about, at least be the template. So when I rediscovered these, I'm thinking, man, how fire would that have been as a film to start, to tell that particular story? Not saying I'm like a writer or director like Ryan Johnson or anyone in Star Wars, but just to sit there and write my own opening crawl, I was like, okay, give myself a little pat on the back.
Yeah,
But yeah, that was my week in Star Wars, is rediscovering those opening crawls.
Yeah, and I like the fact that you paid homage to the prequels with Mustafar. I think that was what a lot of people expected. Yeah, we did go there in Rise of Skywalker, although it was completely almost unrecognizable, which is a whole nother thing. But I do like how you paid homage to that. I don't think they did enough of that in the actual sequels.
Right. I think my thinking was, when Snoke says at the end of Force Awakens, bring him to me, and we know his obsessiveness with Darth Vader, I'm thinking, well, Mustafar, and we knew about the Vader's castle around that time. They released the comic books around that time, I want to say. So I'm thinking, well, it would make sense if Snoke or Kylo would take over Vader's castle on Mustafar. That's why I tied that in, thinking, okay, let's bring the prequels into it. Let's give some of these fans something familiar, but see a different side of Star Wars that we've never seen with Mustafar. So it's old but also new.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And like I said, he said, I need to complete his training. So what does that look like? Let's go see that part of Kylo Ren's training when he becomes more of a Sith or Dark Force user at that time.
Yeah, because
and like I said, go ahead.
Yeah, I was just saying, Last Jedi does a pretty good job of showing Rey train, but I would have liked to see more of a montage of her training and, with juxtaposed against Kylo's dark side training. I mean, we've seen some of the training in the comics. But we really need to see that on the big screen. Come on.
No, I agree 100%. So like I said, I'll have to send you guys, like I said, this one and then the one I wrote for episode 9. And like I said, that we didn't know anything about that film then, but like I said, I just wanted to go into a different direction. I thought I did a good job writing those. So yeah, Lucasfilm or Disney, if you're watching this, your boy can write an open crawl. Just saying.
Yeah, that's the thing, right? It's I never got creative with any fan fiction or alternate history of Star Wars, but it definitely sounds like a lot of fun to do. To just come up.
Oh my gosh, yeah, I loved it. It
could,
was a great experience. So.
Yeah, and I mean that's one of the best parts really about Star Wars is the whether you're writing the fan fictions or your own ideas or things like that, hey, we always kick around ideas in our group chat through the week, oh, what if this, what if that, what if this, or one of my good friends, I talk to him, or my cousin I'm always on Xbox with, we're always shooting around ideas ooh, what do you think is going to happen here, there, or the other. Those type of things are so massive in my opinion. Well, just staying on the whole Last Jedi topic, there was an interview with Ryan Johnson where he had talked about he considered, Luke actually being there on what's the planet? Crate. When he talked about potentially Luke actually being there physically versus the Force projection. So, that's a what if to me. With Luke dying, I think that would have been more amazing to have him just go out physically, actually fighting versus just disappearing through the Force. Or he could have just got taken out similarly as Ben does by Vader, have Luke just disappear when Ben goes to slash him or something versus, him disappearing. So, we always talk about those little what if scenarios or things like that. And that's one of the most fun parts in general about the Star Wars fandom. And, that's something a lot of people forget, when it's the online discourse, people a lot of times will take ideas like that out of line, like hostilely, versus like, hey, this is just creative fun. Like, it's fun to talk about this stuff. Not, we don't have to turn it into an argument. But yeah, I don't know. It's one of the best parts of Star Wars, in my opinion, is like theorizing and stuff. And now we're finally back to that from where Star Wars was just a couple years ago.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, especially now. Star Wars is sort of on the back burner a little bit compared to like Marvel. Marvel's been spinning a lot of stuff, and we've had a pretty large gap. Whether it be the Bad Batch was the last series we watched, or Mandalorian season 2. If you've only watched the live action stuff, we've had a good year or so at this point without any new Star Wars in that regard. So now it's kind of like, okay, that's usually when things pick up. We get that first trailer, and you'll see a lot of people starting to speculate, what about this? What about that character and all that? Yeah. Right. So what about you? Any cool experiences this week for you, Ben?
Nothing too crazy. Like I said, I binge watched season 2 of Another Life with Katie Sackhoff, who plays Bo-Katan. That only came out last week, and it's 10 episodes on Netflix. It's really good. It's basically, Earth sending a group of astronauts. It's futuristic, where they're sending a ship into space to like look for planets to populate, and they run into some aliens and stuff. And it's cool because like Katie Sackhoff's character is like the lead captain of the ship, and you get some really cool moments of her like fighting some of these aliens and also fighting some of the humans who were trying to what do you call it when people on a ship try to turn against the captain?
Mutiny.
Mutiny. Yeah, you get a few people trying to like mutiny against her. Like there's like this one big like tough guy, and she like kicks his ass and everything. And it's great because it just reminds you so much. It's like, man, this is Bo-Katan like doing all this stuff. So I don't know. It's just cool seeing Star Wars actors in similar properties, like it being a sci-fi type thing. Yeah. But also, it's still being its own separate thing, because it feels nothing like Star Wars, obviously, because it's just futuristic sci-fi Earth related stuff. And they make her character just as like badass as Bo-Katan is in The Mandalorian, and she does a really great job with it. And yeah, that's a really fun series if anyone hasn't checked that out yet on Netflix.
Oh yeah. So speaking of which, like seeing actors and other things and be like, hey, that's Bo-Katan kicking ass. I have the same experience with Adam Driver. He's been very much in the limelight with upcoming releases. He already has a duel that's been out, and I kept seeing trailers. I'd be like pointing at the screen, like that one meme with like, I think it's Leonardo DiCaprio or somebody's like eating popcorn in the theater, like pointing. It's like, that's me, like at the screen, like it's Adam Driver, or no, I'm like, it's Kylo Ren. And then like my girlfriend's like, no, you got it. That's Adam Driver. I'm like, yeah, I'm just being funny, okay. And then I keep seeing a trailer for Gucci, and I'm like, hey, there's Kylo Ren again. It's just like, guys really picking up a lot of works in Star Wars more than anybody. Well, him and Oscar Isaac. I had just seen Dune. Quick aside, if you guys are Star Wars fans, obviously you're Star Wars fans if you're listening or watching us. It's definitely worth a watch. If you have HBO, definitely go see it in the theaters if you're available to, because it is quite the thing to behold. From a cinematic perspective, it's freaking awesome. Yeah.
I will say this about Dune, like because again, Oscar Isaac's in it, and clearly that's Poe Dameron. I was seeing all like the people talk about the film. It's get a lot of good buzz. I mean, I know they just greenlit the sequel. People are trying to say that this could be the new like potential, I guess, Star Wars or Lord of the Rings. Mm-hmm. And I could see that because a lot of great world building. And I've never read the books, and this is going to want to make me go back and read the books, just like with Star Wars. Like I love the books, the audio books, whatever. I'm hoping Dune is that same way for this. And Dune reminded me a lot of Star Wars. Yeah. With all the different worlds and things that they were touching on, and different creatures and humanoids and stuff. I will say there were times where I was watching that film thinking, why don't we get this in some of the sequel stuff? I mean, again, I'm not trying to be criticizing. What I mean is like, I guess Denis Duvernay, the director. Yeah. Man, he would have been a dope director for Star Wars. Like I'm seeing like what he could have potentially done. Even with a future movie, it's like, man, if he can do a Star Wars, like I can see this working out and the fans loving it. So
to throw out there with your point though, just to maybe like expand your thinking or give you an idea though. See, I think there's a potential George Lucas found inspiration from Dune, because the first Dune book actually came out in 1964.
Prior. Yep.
So maybe Lucas, picked up some inspiration from there,
You-
potentially, because as I was messaging you guys earlier in the week, when I first saw it, it just felt like, obviously there's all the source material, whatever, in the other movie in the 80s, but it felt like the start of a new franchise to me. Like that's what it felt like, a new theatrical franchise. And,
Yeah, there's definitely vibes.
I agree with that.
Vibes from Star Wars in there, right? Because this predates Star Wars, but I could see like George Lucas getting like the hero's journey and seeing like, hey, this is this young guy who's impressionable and he's been put through this crucible that is going to change him and is going to develop in ways because he's got to survive, right? So it's very much like that Luke Skywalker. I'm a young man in this universe trying to make a name for myself, and I have legacy. There's a connection, no spoilers here, but like there's a connection to him where he could be an important part for all of humankind, essentially. So you got that, but you just got the wide expanse. You got the George Lucas-esque feel of the cinematography. Like they went to locations. I mean, you're looking at basically Tatooine for a majority of the movie. So it's very easy to draw those lines.
Tatooine. What's the planet they were on originally? The House of whatever planet they started off. That was pretty much like, whether it's Takodana or Endor.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like it was fire. I think a lot of it too, again, tying this all into Star Wars, the mythology aspect of it. Looking at like the mythology, the religion, the politics, the theology, everything George Lucas has looked into in the past, you clearly see how that would tie into like his influences from Dune and how it was written back in 1960 something, and he wrote his films back in 1977. So yeah, and he took a lot of his stuff from history and all that type of stuff. So it was cool. Like I see a lot of similarities with it, and I'm hoping this will be our not new Star Wars moving forward, but somewhat of a branch of that moving forward.
Yeah. So segueing into out this week, we have 3 different comics. We have 2 from the War of the Bounty Hunters series, which is coming to a close very shortly next week. But we do have IG-88 issue number 1, which is the one-shot. We had the one-shots for Forlom and Zuckuss. We had a one-shot for Jabba the Hutt and for Boosh. And now we got this. So very cool. This is about IG-88, and it's been very interesting following the canon. Ever since Disney bought Lucasfilm, there's been a severe lack of IG-88 stories. I mean, it's like almost like blatantly like, why are they keeping him away from us? Like, what is going on? So it's been very relieving to know that, yes, we're finally getting these IG-88 stories about 7 years after the fact, almost at this point. So it's very cool because we see that the cold heart, the cold heart of IG-88. He's been basically repaired because he got destroyed by Vader. And it was an interesting thing because basically IG-88's like, I know every weakness to every certain person out there. I have logics, I have a computer, but he can't compute for the Force. And when he thinks he can defeat Darth Vader by deactivating his suit, literally, Vader uses the Force to just move the parts of himself without the machine. So he does that, and he basically bisects IG-88 in half. So then we get this guy that's on this planet that finds him and basically gets him put together for Crimson Dawn. IG-88 tries to get Han Solo and Carbonite from Boba Fett, and well, he gets frozen in Carbonite by Boba Fett, and then gets left on Tatooine to thaw out. So it's interesting because like Boba Fett actually doesn't just straight up kill him; he just leaves him in ice and just leaves him on the planet and drives away. So that's just our basic reasoning is, hey, now we have IG-88 post Return of the Jedi probably. So hey, maybe we'll see him as well in Book of Boba Fett. I wouldn't be very surprised if we actually seen him because that's always been a very age-old rivalry, IG-88 and the character of Boba Fett. We also had Darth Vader issue number 17, which kind of serves as an epilogue to War of the Bounty Hunters issue number 5, which wraps up that series. In this one, the big thing to note is you get to see Vader literally hacking off limbs of Hutts. We knew he was doing this in the other issue, but we didn't get a good look at it. In this, we get the perspective of Vader going to the Hutt Council ship from the orders and beckoning of the Emperor to wipe them out personally. And he just goes in there and you just literally see, I have my review of this on the channel, him just literally hacking off the arms of Hutts. And at one point, literally like just spearing one through the gut with a lightsaber, and it's really pretty far for a Marvel comic. I gotta be honest. I'm like, they actually went there and did this, and it's one of those cool Vader moments. But by the end of this, a big revelation is you have Ochia Bestoon, who up until this point has been very allegiant to the Empire and especially Darth Vader, is pretty much like Darth Vader's fanboy at this point, does in fact get word of Kira being imprisoned by these other dudes, and basically he was friends with these guys, and he's coming back to them after a while, finds out that they're holding him, and just without even a second of hesitation, shoots them all between the eyes and rescues Kira, and basically says something to the degree of "unto the dawn" or something, as if he's actually with her. So we have Ochia Bestoon that is now foregoing the Empire to join the Crimson Dawn as another person that has been under the control of Kira. So I think that's pretty cool. And you know, obviously, if Vader ever finds Ochi, he's in deep trouble, but we know he survives as he's in Rise of Skywalker. Finally, we have Monsters of Temple Peak #3. That is the High Republic miniseries that is going on about the character of Ty York, who is basically the Witcher of the Star Wars universe. She is a Jedi, or a former Jedi. I should be very specific about that. She's no longer part of the Order, and she is going around hunting these monsters. So this miniseries is basically a snapshot of one of those adventures, and one of those missions is she's going to this specific location and hunting down a monster. So that's going to wrap it up for this week's comics. Again, I have a video review of IG-88 #1, as well as Darth Vader #17. I am working currently on my High Republic video, which will be out by Saturday, as we're recording this on Friday, so you can look forward to that. So just jumping into the first official news story. This broke literally on the day we were recording our commentary, so I just figured we'd push it off to the next week. And that is Hasbro had their PulseCon. I did not watch this thing live, but they have a bunch of cool reveals, and there were some reveals that aren't on the website that came out after the fact, so I'm just simply like looking at the biggest ones here. We have more, of course, Mandalorian Black Series. We have one that I really want, which is the Cobb Vanth Black Series, and I'm ticked off that he's already sold out, so that kind of sucks, because I probably would have actually bought him, to believe it or not. We have a Mandalorian, or not a Mandalorian. Yeah, I guess he kind of is Mandalorian, Boba Fett. We have the Boba Fett that actually we see for the first time without the armor in episode 6 with the cloak and on. He's got the gaffy stick. Looks really cool, other than the soft goods, aka like the actual textured cloth that he uses as like a robe. I never really liked how they do that. I wish that some of these characters that they would release would just have like the vinyl cloaks, because this just looks weird. Like the jacket looks like too puffy. Like, I don't know what you guys think about these. I know I'm probably speaking for myself when it comes to some of these Black Series figures here, but I don't know.
Well,
The figure himself looks cool, but I think the robe kind of ruins it.
Yeah, the Boba Fett and the Cobb Vanth are definitely the two that stood out to me the most. And at first, when I saw the pictures, when I was just swiping through, I had to like double take on the Cobb Vanth, because I was like, wait, that wasn't Tamara Morrison. But no, the Boba Fett, yeah, I'm not a fan of the whole the cloth cloaks on like the figures and stuff like that, just because I feel like with the vinyl or the plastic, you can actually make it more. You can make it look a little nicer when it's displayed. But again, I like the fact that it's the Boba Fett in, pre-armor get up, like in his Tusken get up. Like, I think that's pretty cool. And I think we're actually going to see a lot more of that in the Boba Fett series, like in terms of flashbacks. So it'll be a cool like tie-in.
Yep. We also have, going down the list for more Black Series, we have the character of Mayfield, Miggs Mayfield. Yeah. Now, he's got the Morak costume, which is what we see in that episode, the penultimate episode of Season 2, where he's got that kind of Rogue One-esque looking tank armor. Quick note of this, I'm like, why didn't they just go with the Season 1 version? Like, the Season 1 version was so much cooler, Like, it's got the Season 1 has, like, the little, like, turret-mounted thing on his shoulder, the gun, and the cool black armor. And this is, like, almost like they like reprinted the actual tank driver and just like put a head of what's his name on there.
Yeah.
I will say the detail for I'm looking at it right now. The detail's not bad
No, the
it
face
looks
sculpt looks great. Yeah.
yeah, the face looks fine. I
Bill
mean,
Burr. It's basically like Bill Burr's head was just put
yeah,
on a stormtrooper costume, kind
that's what I'm saying. I mean, at least they got the face somewhat right. I'll give them
of.
credit.
Going down. Now we're outside of the figures, but we're in the Black Series sabers. Now this was one I didn't expect. Honestly, I just came back from Comic-Con a couple weeks ago, and I'm honestly surprised I didn't see a Leia Organa Jedi training cosplay, because now I'm sure there will be, because you can get the official Leia Organa Force Elite lightsaber, and it's like that really cool rose gold hilt. This really reminds me of like the Art Deco style of like Alderaan, like her home planet that she was raised up by Bail Organa. Like this looks like it's royalty, like this lightsaber, like getting the close examination of it. And it comes with that cool stand. I wish I have a couple Black Series lightsabers for Luke, and I wish they had that kind of like upright stand. That would be very useful right now, because
Yeah,
otherwise I just
I
have.
want this saber. I like
Yeah.
it. I think it looks pretty dope. Yeah, because I'm looking at the gold right now. That's a really nice hilt. But I'm sure it's gonna be mad expensive to get. Oh my
These are
God.
usually between $150 to $250.
Yeah.
So
Yep. But I like it. It's a dope saber.
yeah, I
Oh
like
yeah.
how
It's
they expanded. They have so many characters, because I was looking around for my Halloween costume, and looking for another lightsaber, and I just was looking for lightsabers on Amazon, and it's so crazy. Like they have obscure ones, right? They have like Mace Windu's lightsaber now. They have Asajj Ventress's lightsabers that you can buy two of them and then connect them as like the double-bladed lightsaber. Like they have
Right.
some pretty cool niche ones. I'm surprised at this point, especially this one. This is such a niche one. We see her have this lightsaber for all of 30 seconds in one movie.
Yeah, that is true. I mean, it's cool that they're getting it, even that just for a little flashback, and it's also nice because then that opens up the potential for maybe more obscure lightsabers in the future, like, whatever it may be. Like, how many variations of Luke lightsabers are we going to get? I'm sure we're going to get another one for Mando at some point. Um, like, I feel like it really opens the doors. And as you said, it's cool how they have like the upright stand for them. I think that's great. My lightsaber, I got my Anakin / Luke one, the blue
Yeah.
saber. That one was a Disney park saber, and that one came with an upright stand actually, which is really nice.
Ooh.
Yep, it comes with an upright stand where you can set it up, and has a nice little like at the bottom of it, it has the I don't know, I guess New Republic, High Republic, or what era would you call Anakin's lightsaber from? Just the Republic?
Just
Yeah.
I guess like the old, not the old Republic. I guess it'd be just regular Republic.
The
Yeah.
Yeah.
Republic,
So
yeah.
like anyways, it has like the Republic era logo actually
Oh yeah,
from
yeah.
like the clone as from like the clone army, like the Republic era logo, and on the bottom of the stand. So it's really cool. But yeah, I mean, I like, especially if you're spending that much. I mean, heck, the Disney park sabers are nice because they're only like $100. But even if you're spending like 200 on the Black Series, like it's nice when they come with a little bit of like extra accessories to go with them. Just because it's like, hey, we're spending this much, you can throw in a few like little accessories and stuff. Like it was nice even with this one. It came with the like the belt clip thing if you cosplay or anything like that. So yeah, I mean it's cool just seeing more and more lightsabers getting released just across the spectrum of companies.
Mm-hmm. Yep, we also get the Black Series. This is the 6-inch Droid Depot toy action figure. So you get a B-1 battle droid, you get Babu Frick, you get a pit droid, you get, oh my gosh, you get a freaking Star Wars Resistance Black Series figure. I was thinking about this the other day. You get the CB-23, which is the droid that was a companion to Kazuda Xiono. That's freaking cool, man. I didn't actually look at that until I'm looking at it now. Because I'm screaming this from the rooftops, like, come on, like, give us a Kaz action figure, give us, a Yeager action figure. Like, I know it'd be hard as heck to do it because they would have to look realistic, and that's a super anime inspired show, but you got to give us more love. And this is coming from the company. I'm trying to hold off from going on a crazy rant about Hasbro because I tend to do that every single time. This is coming from the company that's still putting out Mandalorian Season 2 figures literally a year after it's been out.
But you know what though? That's been a weird trend. I mean, it's not. Look, we can all hate on Hasbro. It is what it is. But I feel like Star Wars been doing this like for the last like 40 years, though, where they're always behind on toys and they release them like later. Does that make sense?
Yeah,
they're way behind.
Which is weird. Like they just did
it.
it with what was it with Grogu?
Rise of Skywalker.
Yeah.
Rise of Skywalker, but then Grogu was out like a year later.
I don't understand because Marvel literally gets these figures out the day after they're revealed. Like they had the What If like I was in a comic book store in Brooklyn, and I was like wait, what? There's like a What If Spider-Man figure? Like this episode came out like two weeks earlier, and the guy that worked there was like, oh yeah, we got all the What If series, like all the figures already. I'm like, why? And this is the same company that's making the Star Wars stuff. It's like, what the heck?
I think a lot of it has to do with that stupid mystery box crap they always talk about. Oh, we don't want to spoil nothing. Blah 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 blah. No, we don't care about that. People gonna buy this stuff. Put it out there.
But the Marvel stuff never gets spoiled, from my knowledge.
That's what I'm saying, right? That's what I mean. Like that's the point. Like why is Star Wars acting goofy about it when we know Marvel and even DC can pull it off? You know what I'm saying? So like, it's just goofiness.
Well, the crazy part is about the Grogu situation. I heard different things from like decently known people like reporting about the Grogu thing with Mando season 1. It sounded like the people there, they weren't expecting Grogu to boom like that, like to be a trend or be popular. Like that's why they were so behind on the toys for Grogu, and it was 8 months late, is because his first toy came out in like May or June.
Yeah.
But but it had to do with they weren't actually expecting him to be a big hit, which is crazy.
Which is weird.
How can you not when it's you
Yoda.
Of course before they go and publish that to Disney Plus, all those people have watched that the whole season 1,000 times. Like, how could you not watch that and see how cute Grogu is and think, oh, this is going to be a big hit? Like,
again, everyone was saying Baby Yoda. We didn't know what his name was then, but everyone loves Yoda. So a cute version of him, of course the kids and the ladies are gonna be like, oh, we love him, blah blah blah. Like, come on, man. That's just weird. That's just weird thinking. Like they're overthinking that. Okay, like come on.
Well, heck, I mean, that's like even now, most of the general people I know still call him Baby Yoda. Like heck, I was watching an interview with some Browns players, like just leading up. They're talking about the game this coming Sunday, and they had mentioned one of them had mentioned some stuff about the Mandalorian or whatever, and the guy said Baby Yoda. He didn't even say Grogu, because people are still referencing it as Baby Yoda. So I don't know. It's definitely interesting in terms of marketing things, and then just to like throw my 2 cents of like what if, like what figure I want. I would love to see, it could be out already. I don't know, but I would love to see a Black Series. Like Daniel Logan Boba Fett in the like Boba Fett armor, like Clone Wars style, like Daniel Logan Black Series.
Cool.
Like I think that would be great.
That's not been revealed yet. Ooh man, but maybe with all the Boba hype, maybe they'll have a flashback of Boba Fett from back then.
I would love that. I think that would be awesome.
Yeah. So moving along, we also had a KX security droid that was part of the droid. We have, what is this one called? It's like something with the Galactic Creatures toy action figures, another kind of big pack. You get a couple Kawaki monkey lizards, you get a couple porks, you get a Minoc, but what I think is really cool is you get a Bogling. And probably a lot of you are like, what the hell's a Bogling? It's one of those little creatures on Bogano from Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order. So there we go. We're getting love for Resistance, we're getting love for Jedi Fallen Order, so I'm all over this kind of stuff. We also get this thing called the First Order toy action figures pack. This has General Hux. This has a little First Order droid. 2 different droids. We have a mouse droid. We have like an R5 droid. What's interesting to me is seeing this design of, it looks like an AT-AT driver, but like First Order version. So I know they had released something as well that was like a mountain trooper that I seen at the convention I went to. I was like, okay, so I guess maybe you see these guys walking around Galaxy's Edge. And yes, I know I haven't been there yet. Hopefully I'll be there in May. But I thought that was cool. It's like, oh, they just put this random new design in this pack. Like, oh, crap. Okay. The catch is all those multi-packs I just mentioned are Disney Park exclusives. So you can only get them right now, getting them at the park. So,
that sucks.
Yep. So we got the vintage collection, which is the 3 3/4 pack. We got a Mandalorian kind of bar set, which is pretty neat. They also said they're going to have a 3 3/4 inch fleet trooper pack. So I guess there's people out there that like literally make armies out of their figures. So this is kind of a cool way to like build up a ton of your figures without having to spend more money on each figure individually. You also get this is a version of Ahsoka Tano from The Mandalorian, it looks like. That's pretty neat.
Yeah, that looks nice. I like that one.
Yeah, the one that took me by surprise is the Padawan or the Apprentice Jedi Anakin Skywalker. When I was scrolling through this, I was like, what generic Jedi is this? I've never seen. Maybe they're just releasing a generic Padawan or something. And I realized, oh shoot, that's actually a design of Anakin that like we never really ever see that much.
No, that's nice. I like that one too. I don't remember seeing this one. Did they come out with this before?
No, but I think they might be drawing. They might be drawing inspiration from, because look at his lightsabers design is even different.
Yeah, it looks different. Yeah.
Like I think this could be from the Obi Wan and Anakin comic book series, which is in between Phantom Menace and Attack of the Clones. So they might have been pulling some stuff from that. We have a Mace Windu. We have Obi Wan Kenobi. All these are like Attack of the Clones, which is pretty neat. We have another pack of Mandalorian with a bunch of spiders. And so that does it for that. But the big one I want to save for last is we have another one of those HasLab upcoming releases for Star Wars The Black Series. And what that is it's kind of a crowdfunded milestone-esque type of thing where you basically back a project. And if it gets enough people, which it has done for the Razor Crest and for the Jabba Sail Barge before that, it gets made. So it's meant for the hardcore collectors. You won't see these things ever out of store. But they are making the Rancor. I think we talked about that before, but we do have actual images and dimensions of the Rancor. So this thing is massive, but is it going to, it's basically almost, I believe, like its arm span is like 3 to 4 feet wide. If the thing is like standing fully up, it's like almost 2.5 feet tall. Like this thing is massive, but the question I pose to you guys is, would you spend $350 on this thing?
No. It ain't worth it. Nope. I mean, look, or the let's be real here. The Rancor is a cool character in itself. Like we got to see one for the first time in Return of the Jedi. Dope. But it ain't lasting in my life like that. Okay, it ain't worth it. I mean, it'd be just something I would just buy and just waste away. Like I would never talk about it. I would never show it off probably. So no, it's a waste to me.
Yeah. So
no, I want to either. I completely agree, Milton. Like, and it's just so bulky and clunky. Yeah. That's the big issue when it comes to something like that. If I'm going to pay $350, I mean, sure, of course you're buying a thing that's supposed to be like to scale or partially scale or whatever. But to me, if I'm going to take that $350, save up another $50 and buy 2 of those Black Series sabers. Like,
I was just thinking that right now. I'd rather get 2 lightsabers fast. Like,
yep.
Because everybody loves lightsabers.
Or a Black Series saber in a Mando helmet or something. Like,
yeah.
I mean, that's the thing, right? Is at least prior to this, they would tell us like what now there's going to be probably more stuff that comes with this. What they do is they put up these milestones. So it's like, hey, if we get 5,000 backers by a certain date, we'll throw in a Gamorrean guard. If we get, 7,500 backers within a certain time frame, we'll throw in Luke Skywalker, right? So they'll throw in like little add-ons to kind of like push people to buy this thing. But I've actually even been listening to other podcasts and hearing hardcore collectors that aren't even going to go for this freaking thing. So that's not good. I just tried going on the link, by the way, and it just took me to like an oops, wrong page. So I don't even know how you'd be able to order this thing if they were just like, it's not worth it. Let's just take it down. No one wants this thing. But like, I think it's just too much, right? If it was $200, I could see a ton of people buying it, but $350 is like, come on, man. I could buy a freaking Xbox Series S with that money and still have money to spend on like another game or something. Like that's crazy to me. Yeah. And it just doesn't appear as epic as the other releases, right? Like, especially the Jabba's sail barge. That thing was literally 4 feet long for the same price, I believe. I believe it was either 350 or 500, but even at 500, I feel like that would be like a Jabba's fully customizable sail barge would be way cooler than this thing. Because you could be like,
Yeah.
I have freaking Jabba sail barge, and I could put like 50 figures. I can open up the compartments and see like the kitchen, and I could see like where Jabba is. Like it's totally compartmentalized. Like I just I don't know how this could compare to something like that.
Yeah, I don't know. I just think that's, like you said, it's too much. Or if you're gonna go the creature route, like the Rancor is cool and all, but I feel like, or do like a set, make a movie accurate and TV accurate, do a set of Yoda and Grogu, like something like that. Like maybe people would get into that more, but a Rancor, I don't know. Like, or even
No.
if you're going the ship route, like, maybe just instead of the Rancor, like maybe do an MTT where like it actually, it pulls out the rack of all the battle droids or something like that. Like,
Right.
Something, I don't know, Rancor, it's not enticing enough to spend that much. Then again, I mean, I've looked at different things before. Like I would rather spend the 350, like I said, on lightsabers or Mando helmets or whatever, or even I've seen different things like full blown like signed, scripts from like Lucas and Kasdan and all them for like 400, $500. Like I would rather just save up something like that and get an actual historic piece of Star Wars merch versus a Rancor.
Right.
Chris.
Okay, I must have hit the mic.
There we go.
So did you hear me say Matthew at least?
Nope,
Okay,
not at
so
all.
Matthew in the chat has chimed in on a couple things with Hasbro. He is saying about the Stellan Cross Guard. Stellan Gios is a Jedi of the Jedi Council. He's got one of the coolest lightsabers you'll ever see. It's basically like a regular hilt, but then it collapses with these two prongs. I forget what exactly they're called. There's a certain name for them. They extend downward, and then beams of light come out of them. It's a blue lightsaber. Make us that freaking lightsaber. I'll pay like $500 for that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what I'm
Make me
saying.
that
it's
lightsaber
gotta
that
be
has
something
that.
that's gonna entice me to like want to spend that money.
Yeah.
Like again, the sabers, helmets. You know what I'm saying? Like I need something. I'm gonna be like, all right, I'm gonna show this off to my peoples. They're gonna be like, oh, that's fire. Like again, I have a lot of friends who like Star Wars, and they'll be jealous of that if I got something like that.
Well, Milton, in comparison, or just save up a few. I don't know. I think the full the full replica Boba Fett costume is like $900. Like save up another $600 and buy
Yeah.
that. Like that's
Yeah.
way more cool than
I'll tell you,
Yeah.
Rancor
actually,
in my
for real,
opinion.
you know what? I'd rather go buy one of Han Solo's jackets from Empire Strikes Back.
Oh,
Yeah.
Those
yeah.
jackets he wore in that movie was tight. Like I'd wear that every day.
Well,
Like you know what I'm saying?
hey, I mean that's like I'm sure you guys remember. Speaking of Han, around when The Force Awakens came out, remember Columbia Sportswear? They came out with their line of movie replica Hoth jackets.
Oh,
I
yeah.
forgot
literally
about that. Yeah.
Yeah, Chris, just Google it. They're literally like $299. They're like $300.
Are those the blue ones?
Yeah,
Yeah.
they're the Hoth jackets they wear out in the snow. They literally are movie accurate, but they're parkas with like down, so we could actually use them in real life. Like they're movie accurate, but they're actual parkas you can use in the snow.
Wow.
So, and they came
Yeah,
out around The Force Awakens. Yeah, Columbia Sportswear came out with that.
It's funny because I got a winter coat that it's really seen the end of its days. It's got some tears in it towards the bottom, but specifically got this coat because it looks like Han Solo's. It's like the black, but it's got like the fur on the hood.
Yep.
And it's like
Yeah.
the same coloration as the hood he has. And I'm like, I put it down especially if it's like one of those days because I'm in New Jersey and it snows here occasionally during the winter. Like I'll be walking outside and I'll feel like I'm on Hoth. It's like, yeah, I'm going out to check on those sensors, guys. I'll be right back.
That's what I'm saying, man. You give me one of those Hoth jackets. Again, I want that one he wore out in the snow. I want the blue light one that he wears. I mean, those things were fire. I'll take Luke's outfit at this point from Hoth. Like, First of all, that movie's just so fire. I'll take anyone's outfit. 'Cause I just love how they looked. I'm thinking, and honestly, I always come back. This is my weird imagination, but what if Star Wars was real, man? They had the type of clothing that blended into our world. I'd wear Jedi robes every day. Just saying. Like, that was real.
Oh man, yeah, and we also have some more feedback from Matthew saying they already have Eternals figures out. Guys, Eternals is not even out yet. They have the freaking figures out.
That's what we're saying. Like, you bring up a good point, Matt. That's the problem. Star Wars and Disney, stop playing. Like, stop trying to be secretive. We know what's going to happen half the time. So just put the stuff out.
Well,
and
that's stupid.
We always say it. We always say it. I was just talking to my good friend about this 2 days ago. Star Wars is literally like how Bill Belichick is with the Patriots. He doesn't say a single word about anything, and that's Star Wars. They want to keep as much information to themselves and never let anything come out until it comes out. And even when it comes out, you still don't know what's going on.
Yeah, because half the time they release the novelizations 6 months later, or whatever. Yeah. It's like, wait a minute, just get us to have it released the next day.
Well, here's a thing. I saw I think it was like on a book website. There's like a Boba book or some type of bounty hunter book that's supposed to connect to the Boba series, but that's not slated until like July or something.
Yeah.
Like it was on like a book publisher's website, but it's like a lot of that stuff. It's like you'd think it would come out almost immediately after whenever it's done in the theater or Disney
about
Plus.
To premiere. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Mm. But maybe some things will change now that we're gonna have series on top of series on top of series in 2022. And then with a new movie in 2023, like I think like Disney is gonna have to have a stern talk with Hasbro and be like, we got these movies coming out. Here's the stuff. Make this, But of course, with the distribution the way it is now, I'm waiting on miniatures from Atomic Mass Games for my Star Wars Legion game that should have been here about 3 months ago, and they're still out there somewhere. So it's a freaking nightmare. So you got to give it to them for that. But I mean, between just announcing new designs to actually shipping, that's two completely different things. But we also do know that Aaron Daly is keeping us updated. They have Star Wars Visions figures that they announced earlier last week. I forgot to put this down, so thanks for the update. They have figurines of Ronan and the twins. I believe they're being made by Bandai Namco or one of those Eastern companies, I think. So they're more statues, I believe. I don't think they're going to be actual action figures that you can pose. I think it's more just statue in design. So that's really cool.
That's cool.
Hell, I would love to see what the hell like Ronan in the Black Series form look like realistic.
Yeah,
like talk about a challenge, like taking an anime concept and making it realistic.
I'm sure they can do it. I mean, they've done it with other like anime properties. They just look at the human form and how it would translate over. So I'm sure they'll make that work. Like they'll probably get us the human form version of it, but also the animation version of it as well.
Yeah. So that was the collecting news. Now there are actually more figures that were announced, but I don't know why they weren't officially revealed during the stream. But Hasbro's weird like that. So you can find them by just looking at websites like yakface.com. He's a good site that aggregates all like the different SKUs of the different products and does a little bit digging for some leaks of different figures. So you can check out his website or Fantatrax. Those are pretty reputable websites to really stay up to speed on anything with Star Wars collecting. I'm going to pull an audible on this one because I just realized it and I didn't put it on the show notes. We have a wild George Lucas sighting, everybody. We got a wild George Lucas on the run. We seen him at the US Grand Prix last week. He was there with his wife and they're watching some races, and it's always just kind of funny to see George Lucas out and about because we rarely get to see him. I think it's been like literally months and we see him still rocking the same shirt, but changing wardrobe, guys. He's actually wearing shorts this time. So we got a different variant of George Lucas. So you see the same pictures of him with the jeans and the damn sneakers every time. So it's like, oh yeah, I gotta put a news update about George Lucas.
I love seeing George Lucas out and about like that. I wish we, like I would say, I wish we saw more of him. I wish he could get on. I don't even know. what's the interview? Like Joe Rogan. Joe Rogan does like 4-hour interviews. Get George Lucas on there and talk for 4 hours. Like we need an updated interview of him, like 2-3 hour, like just something.
Yeah.
Because he's not in the public eye at all. Or he needs to get on Twitter and start just dropping funny one-liners because I'm sure he could be witty. But I don't know. I wish he was out in public more. It is, like you said, Chris, it's always cool seeing him just out and about. And it's good knowing, like, him being older in his mid-70s. Like, it's good knowing he's, like, in good health, like, to be out and about like that and stuff. So that's always a nice relief, I would say.
I agree. I think one, about his outfit, that's why he's a billionaire. Because he ain't out here spending money on stupid shit. You know what I mean? Like, he's out here, wearing normal clothes, enjoying his time with his family. That's why he's got money. Second, you're right. I wish he would be more vocal. And when I don't say vocal, but just do more interviews, but obviously be protected. I mean, I'm sure he wants to be protected in his interviews and not get overexposed. I think Joe Rogan would be great because I know Joe Rogan loves Star Wars, so he'd be a great person to interview. Because I think Joe Rogan. I think doing like Jimmy Kimmel, like just stuff like that. It's like just because he has limited years left. Not want to kill him off, but what I mean is he's an older guy. So let's get more sound bites and just more knowledge from him. Just say, hey, you know what? It's nice to see him while he's not focused on Star Wars. Talk about maybe other films he might think about making or how he's influencing new filmmakers. So, it'd just be nice to hear from him. Yeah.
So maybe one of these days he'll stop at Star Wars Celebration, but I'm not going to hold my breath. He's actually done it before. He's been at the one.
If I ever ran into George Lucas, I'll be that fan. I'll be like, George, can we take multiple snaps? Can we get a drink together? Like, I'll be asking him every question. Like, did you?
Can you come on our podcast?
Whoa, facts for sure. I'm like, bro, do you like the sequel trilogy? Like, I'm asking him. I'm being honest. I'm like, I need to know everything.
Yeah, just say, if you answer, it means no. If you don't answer, it means no.
Right. Yeah.
Oh man. Another story, kind of relevant. I mean, you need money. You need a lot of money to do this next story. Galactic Starcruiser very quietly opened reservations, and I mean quietly. And I found this very suspicious. There was no big hurrah, StarWars.com. Hey, you can reserve your spot. There was not even anything from Disney Parks like Twitter or their blog saying it was open. It was very interesting how they just... I was on IGN, and IGN literally gave the number to call. So I was like, for the hell of it, I'm going to just call to see what the process is like. Within me dialing the number, they're like, try again later, or our phone lines are full. So it's almost like Disney was like hiding the fact of, let's not talk about this because we know everybody gets pissed off whenever we mention this thing.
Yeah.
It's like we could, like the normal guy can't afford to go there.
Right. So just make sure I'm not crazy. We've talked about, this is the one with like the 2-day stay.
Yep.
That was like, okay. Yeah. Freak this story. Okay. Because I'm over that. Ugh. I don't want to talk about this because that's what I'm talking about. No one is going to want to go there that don't have money like that.
Yeah.
And then you quietly put your reservation schedules out or, numbers. Like, bro, you're trying to exclude people from wanting to do it, one, and we can't do it. So, nah, you ain't getting my opinion on this. Get out of here with that trash.
Yeah, to me, that shows how aware they are about how mad people were about the price, so they don't want to advertise and then get people riled up again. So they're like, let's just leave it dropped because we have the Disney Plus Day coming. Let's let it fill out and just keep it moving.
Yeah, I think they definitely noticed. Like, let's not draw attention to this. Let's try to keep it on a down low. If they're hardcore Star Wars fans are going to know what day it is, what time to sign up, and all that. But I did see the horror stories. I seen on IGN story that they put this up on Twitter. I seen in the comments like, there was literally people online for 4 hours, and then they would drop the call and they'd be out of the thing. Like, they wasted like half their day just on the phone, and then it just gets dropped. Like, nope.
Yeah, and I guarantee you, honestly, this is me just being so crazy and bizarre, but I guarantee you that number is probably fake. But they probably have another number that like the celebrities or people that got money actually can call because they're the ones that actually can go. So get out of here, Disney. Miss me with that trash. you're not getting any other opinion from me about this because you already know how I feel about it.
All right.
Facts.
Yeah, so without much further ado, said, it's one of the fastest topics we've had on the show for good reason, and we're going to segue out of that.
It's true, man. It's ridiculous.
It is. It is. I just put it in there to rally you up every time.
It's all good, man. I appreciate that.
So
wakes them up for the next topic.
Yeah, getting into our headline discussion topic here, we have Hayden Christiansen. This was revealed to us literally the day we recorded our commentary. I figured, let's just wait to have more time talking about this. This comes to us from The Hollywood Reporter. Headline is Hayden Christensen returning to Star Wars with Ahsoka series exclusive. So we have Rosario Dawson is also starring as fan favorite character Ahsoka Tano. Yes, we knew this. Yes, Hayden Christensen is staying in the fold of the Galactic Empire. The actor will reprise the role of Anakin Skywalker, aka Darth Vader, in Ahsoka, the latest Star Wars live-action series from Lucasfilm and Disney+. Multiple sources tell The Hollywood Reporter. Rosario Dawson is starring as the fan-favorite character Ahsoka Tano, a Jedi Knight survivor popular on the animation side of Star Wars who made her live-action debut in the second season of The Mandalorian. Plot details are being kept in the far reaches of the Outer Rim, but it is known that longtime Star Wars lightsaber wielder Dave Filoni is writing the series and exec producing with Jon Favreau. It's unclear how Skywalker, or for that matter Vader, will figure into Ahsoka, which, like The Mandalorian, is set 5 years after the events of Return of the Jedi, and therefore after Vader's death. Let's see, anything else about this? The character of Tano was the Padawan. Yeah. So maybe he's a Force Ghost. So let's talk about this. This is great. This is awesome.
I was going to add in there real quick before you get to your point and Milton's point. I'm not sure if both of you guys have seen it. I mean, since it's been taken down. So when this report first came out, for anybody who's followed Rosario Dawson on Instagram, she actually totally confirmed it, because she went and posted a straight up picture of, it's was on her official Instagram with the check mark. So it's her. She posted a picture of her and Hayden like standing like, across from each other like this, like, like basically talking to each other, smiling. And she put, everyone finally knows about us, and put like hashtag Ahsoka. And then she deleted it like 20 minutes later.
Yeah, so, it was something about she put like snips on it. She put like snips on it or something.
Yeah, and then she put like hashtag snips, like hashtag Sky Guy or whatever. Like, she and then she deleted it. So boom, Rosario is even in on it too.
I don't understand like how she thought it was a good idea to put that out in the first place. I mean, come on, like we know how secretive Disney is.
Right.
She leaked Thrawn and Ezra too.
Yeah, I know. It's not the first time she's done this. That's what I'm saying. I'm like, how's Disney not like gotten a PR person to be like, look, don't say anything about Star Wars anymore. Period.
Well, here's the thing, though, right? Let's be real here, and we'll get into Anakin in a second. But like Disney, why are you tripping about that? That she's just giving you free publicity right there. Like she's hyping it up even more. We get to see 2 live action characters, one we haven't seen in a long time, one we just saw recently, together. What's that relationship going to be like now? She's giving you marketing. Like, let it go. Like, fans are going to be more excited because we're saying, oh, the actor is excited. She wants to work with Hayden. We don't hear from Hayden Christensen in the public eye, but for Rosario Dawson to say, hey, I'm all about this, I'm endorsing this, that's great marketing. So,
100%. And I think, as we get into this topic, I think her post actually has some major implications for the show, in my opinion, because I think it has implications that we are going to be getting Clone Wars flashbacks for that show specifically, just because why would she be putting like snips on there? That's like referencing when her and Anakin were like master apprentice. Right. So I don't think we're going to see Force Ghost Anakin going, hey, snips. Like, I don't think we'll see that. So maybe I think it has implications that we're going to be getting flashbacks potentially with her and Anakin, like toward the end of the Clone Wars era, I would say, because they're both adults. So you can just, you can work with it.
It makes perfect sense, right? Because in the Kenobi series, we're pretty sure we're going to have flashbacks, You have Anakin
You know,
Skywalker, Hayden Christensen. He's already like in that role. Is like, hey, he's got. I mean, I don't think he ever was out of shape, but he's definitely in the mindset of Anakin at this point. He's already got the costumes. They could just reuse the same costume for freaking Ahsoka in a couple months when they go filming that.
Mhm.
So it makes sense that they would announce this now because they're gonna start to get ready for producing the Ahsoka series in a couple months. So it's like, just we have the freaking costumes. There you go. You got fitted for it already. It'll fit
Yeah.
fine in a couple months.
Dude, I look, I'll start off first, I guess, with this topic. I love this announcement. One, I'm a big fan of Hayden Christensen as Anakin Skywalker, and I like him as an actor. I think he's a really good actor. Obviously, when he did the prequels, people judged him differently, but I think over the last 5 to 6 years, fans have really appreciated him. One, as an actor, but two, as Anakin Skywalker. I love this announcement. It makes total sense for him to be in this show, whether it's flashbacks, being used as a Force ghost, whatever. I just want to see him be used by a great filmmaker or even just creator, which is Deborah Chow. She's doing this show. No, she did Obi Wan. Who's doing?
Filoni's doing Filoni.
So perfect. So having Filoni and Favreau work this show with Hayden and their guidance, man, he's gonna kill it. And again, I'm assuming he's killing it with Deborah Chow. So I just have faith in what they're going to do with these two particular shows, most importantly with Ahsoka. So I'm curious to see that with live action and how that relationship's going to be. So I'm excited. They got my money. I'll be there day one, and I'm sure we'll review those episodes and talk about him. I just can't wait until that happens, and it just makes sense story-wise. It makes sense creatively. I think Lucasfilm Disney is listening to the fans, whether they clamor for this or not, but they're giving us what we would always want to see. What would Hayden be like with Ahsoka in a live-action series or even movie? So.
Oh yeah, I'm really excited about it as well, Milton. Like, I think, I totally echo like all of your points. When I first saw this news, I was so hyped because, of course we were hyped about him in Kenobi, but now that we're for sure going to be getting him interacting with Ahsoka, there are so many implications for that because, we have the flashbacks, but we also have, I think with Hayden, with all of this stuff, I'm really getting like the Arrow vibes of, I think we're getting some type of a B plot flashback storyline. I 100% think that. Because to me, it's like you can't do a ton of Force. Like, what's a Force ghost going to do? So I don't know. It's interesting in that regard. And then also just the fact, as both of you guys said, like Hayden's, in like shape. He still looks young. Like he still looks good to play the Anakin character.
He's only 40, I believe. I think he's only 40 years old.
Yeah, he's 40. So. And the thing is, a lot of people need to remember when it comes to the prequels, like he was specifically directed to act that way. Because like the main common criticism of Hayden in the prequels is he was wooden with his acting. But the thing is, Darth Vader's a pretty wooden character in the original trilogy. Like he's not too like all over the place emotionally. And like even Vader, he gives his one-liners and stuff. Like that's part of Vader, which is Anakin. Like, so I think Hayden, I think that's also why Hayden's grown on people is, Hayden's talked about that before, about how he was directed to act that way because of Vader. So, you have those type of things and it just adds up. And I think it's going to make his character really interesting because with Filoni leading the way, we're going to get the version of Anakin, I would say, like we're going to get the Clone Wars Anakin, which is going to be interesting to see. I want to see, I'm sure he can pull it off. He's a good actor. I want to see if he can pull off almost that, like, not like snarky, but you know what I mean? Like witty type Anakin, like we see in the Clone Wars. Like, I'm really interested to see how Hayden does
I think
that
we will.
specifically.
I think we will.
Mm-hmm.
Ben, I think we already saw some of that. I mean, in the beginning of Revenge of the Sith, Anakin was cocky. Like, and he was very, like, he was cocky and jokey with Obi Wan when they were especially saving the Chancellor.
Mm-hmm.
And I think we're going to see a lot more of that, because we did get a lot of like, dark, upset, gloomy Anakin in that film. But in the beginning of that movie, he was pretty energetic and jokey and just cracking jokes and just being witty. So he's able to do that.
Yeah. I mean, well, now the cool thing is he was doing that in that movie in 2005, which was before that series. So now he actually has a character. I'm sure Filoni's going to show him all the tape of the Anakin from Clone Wars and like, hey, this is how your character is acting during this time period, like, to give him an inspiration to look off of. So I'm
Right.
really interested to see, how that translates.
Yeah, I'm
Right,
interested
right.
to see the difference between Anakin and Kenobi and Ahsoka because Kenobi has a completely different creative team, right? You have Deborah Chow that's basically running the show there. With I don't even think Dave Filoni. Well, Dave Filoni is probably going to be involved, but his name's not going to be on there because if they're dealing with
No.
Anakin's going to be in his. He's probably going to have some talks, but still, I would like to see like how the direction from a different creative force works from there to Ahsoka and see if hopefully there's like that. I mean, there's gonna be that connection between okay, these are the same exact characters, but obviously they're in different eras of time as well, right? One
Mhm.
point he's alive as Vader. The other point he's going to be mainly a Force ghost, probably. So could be cool there. My initial thought with Ahsoka was just automatically coming up with speculation and be like, there is like this big want from a lot of the fan community, which is we want to see Ahsoka have a conversation about Anakin with Luke. So
Mhm.
come on, bring in
See,
Luke
I
for a
think
scene and have the Force Ghost of Anakin there. Oh my gosh,
I
wouldn't that
think
be freaking
I
crazy?
think Yep, I 100% think that's what we're going to get. And I think we're going to potentially, I mean, this is going out on a limb here. I mean, we have no context for the Ahsoka show other than Ezra and Thrawn, so I'm not sure. But I think there's a chance Luke might get involved in the show, like as a guest star or something, because how, I mean, in Mando, Ahsoka is still assuming Anakin was evil. So, you know, how do we go from that to potentially? I mean, then again, she may just never find out. But I think everyone's assuming that she finds out one way or another that Anakin turned good.
Mhm.
So, what if we have? I mean, I think there's a chance that we may
That Luke
see
could confirm that. Yeah.
Luke. Yeah, Luke could confirm that. What if we get? Hey, that's a way for maybe. Hey, I mean, now I'm talking this out. Say if Grogu isn't in Mando season 3 or barely in it or something. What if Grogu's with Luke in the Ahsoka series and like Ahsoka's like meeting back up, seeing Grogu again, and then Luke's like for some reason or another has that talk with Ahsoka, and maybe toward the end of the Ahsoka series we get Anakin meeting with Ahsoka, and then like as a ghost, but the Anakin. So like what I'm thinking basically is Ahsoka's not going to bump into the ghost until toward the end of the series. But the way we'll get Ahsoka and Anakin acting on screen is she'll be reminiscing, talking to whoever, whether it be Luke or someone she's maybe Sabine. Maybe she's talking about Anakin with Sabine, and maybe that's how they're getting the Anakin Ahsoka interaction. You know, it'll be flashbacks to Clone Wars with her and Hayden.
Mhm. Well, I'm also thinking of it this way too. I don't know if you guys seen the show Dexter on
Yep.
Showtime. Okay, so Chris, in that show, Dexter is a serial killer, but like he interacts with his dead foster dad, but he
Mhm.
interacts with him like in like visions or like flashbacks and stuff. Like as the season went on or the show went on, it was more like he would directly interact with him in the moment, but like through like force ghost type ways, how they would do it for that real life show. I
Mhm.
can see that being how they would do it with this show, where like Ahsoka may look off and see like Anakin and be like, hey, so what do you think or whatever. Like maybe that's like her inner thoughts, but it's Hayden's. You know what I'm saying? Like, does that make
Yep.
sense? Like Ben, you've seen the show, so you know what I'm talking
Yeah.
about.
Well, I mean, there's that. It also makes me think of the Bruce Willis movie I See Dead People. Maybe it'll be something
Yeah.
like that, like something along those lines. But also, my thing is her just putting the word snips on her caption for sure means like flashbacks. Like in my opinion,
Has
like
to be.
like
Has
I
to be.
said, I just don't see Force Ghost Anakin saying snips. Like I just don't see it. Just because I mean, then again, I guess we get Yoda's pretty jokey, I guess. So maybe so. But I just don't see it because like the tone to me the tone of the Force is so serious in The Mandalorian. It's not funny whatsoever. Like, it's not jokey like that. So I don't know. I feel like that's going to be flashbacks. But yeah, I could for sure maybe see, maybe Hayden's gonna be throughout the series. Like, that could be cool. Or if there's like 8 episodes, maybe he's in 4 of them or 5 of them.
Yeah.
Something along those lines. But I for sure think we're going to get that conversation between Ahsoka and Luke. And also, a lot of that begs to question, like, in The Mandalorian, does she already know about Luke? Because since she was sending Mando and Grogu to the planet, like, why, was she just assuming there was other Jedi in the galaxy, or does she already know Luke's out there?
Interesting. Very interesting. Before I forget, I want to bring this up. Now, there was images of Hayden Christensen and Rosario Dawson. I don't know if they're on the set of something, if they just bumped into one another and took a picture, like multiple pictures, I believe, of them together, like from years ago. So that's pretty cool how apparently they already have a connection, which is going to be very useful because it almost seems like they'll have that same as if Anakin and Ahsoka have in the Clone Wars. So I like that they could already seem to have some kind of chemistry, being they were already, have been around each other a little bit.
I mean, I think that's helpful. I think that's helpful for anything that you do. I mean, especially whether it's working or playing a sport with someone. If you're comfortable with them outside of that arena, your chemistry is going to be somewhat, I wouldn't say instant, but you'll be more comfortable of trusting that person. And I think with these two particular characters, separating the actors from the characters, they're going to want to protect these characters, and that relationship has already been established. We've got to see how Anakin came to love Ahsoka and vice versa throughout the Clone Wars. So I still think we're going to need to see that element, and I think it's going to be very crucial. And we all know Dave Filoni will probably, knowing how he creates, he's probably thinking that way. He's like, we need to make sure that this is still that natural love that they have. But they're going to have that conflict because she's probably going to feel like she did something to not protect Anakin. She abandoned him. I mean, he did drop hints in Rebels, and with that one in meditation scene where he's like, when Anakin was like, Ahsoka, why did you leave me? He dropped hints in that Rebels show, so maybe he might go back to reference that. But we'll need to see that conflict, but also that love that they share.
Oh yeah. I mean, I want to see those connections. I really do, because that's what ties everything together with this whole franchise we're into. It's just these connections going from years to years to years, and here we are. Who would ever think that we would ever get an Ahsoka series, period? But now we have such a great chance to pay off some of these relationships that have really been some of the heart of Star Wars in general. So, heck yeah.
Oh yeah, for sure. Well, I was going to say an interesting point too. Like, sure, it could just be the Hollywood Reporter being a general fan and writing it. But if you notice the way they wrote it, they said Anakin / Darth Vader in the article. So the thing is, or it might have been Deadline who posted that, but one of the two articles that wrote it that way, sure, they could be just doing that, referencing it just because him being Vader and Kenobi. But the thing is, what made me think is, what if we get some type of a live action-ish version of the conflict between Ahsoka and Vader from Rebels, and Hayden, we get something like that along those lines with Hayden, just because, the way they wrote that up, it could just be just for general marketing, but again, it could be flashbacks to some of the stuff in Rebels, maybe.
I do want to spend a moment just to kind of recap everything that went with Hayden Christensen from the acting point of view, right? So the prequels came out. Some people loved them. Some people hated them. So a lot of it, we did go over Anakin or Hayden Christensen. Just some people thought his performance was wooden or whatever, right? So, but we see his resurgence now, right? It all started with, I believe, his Star Wars Celebration 2017. Yeah, it had to be 2017. That was in Orlando. They had the big 40th anniversary of Star Wars panel. They had characters from the prequels, sequels, original trilogy, of course, and he was there. And it was a big standing ovation. the prequels have aged very well, I would say. A lot of people have come around on them, and definitely come around the character of Anakin Skywalker thanks to the Clone Wars and many other things fleshing out those prequels. So now we are in a spot where people are just so happy to see him back on that stage. And this is 2017. We didn't know he was doing anything at that point. And then we get the acknowledgement last year that he's actually coming to Kenobi. And then, he's been making the rounds at all these conventions. Like, he's been seeing all the fans, like, doing autographs, doing photo shoots at, like, all the major photo ops at all the major conventions. New York, I believe he was in Florida, all these places. And now we get the message that he's actually going to be in another series. So it's like, this is the time of Hayden Christiansen. Like, we've seen the rise and the fall and the rise again. And it's great to see this guy coming back into the limelight and being there for what started his career probably. And he's going to be back there 20 something years later, which is great.
Right. No, I totally agree with that. I mean, people, yeah, they did trash him at one point, which I don't understand that, because prior to him doing Star Wars, he showed a lot of potential being a really good actor. He did a show called, I want to say, Higher Learning or Higher Ground. That was a Canadian show. He did that. Life was or was that, what's that movie? Shattered Glass, which was really critically acclaimed, and Life is a House, I think, with I forget who the actor was, but those were really good projects. So he's a good actor, and and yes, he got criticized for his portrayal as Anakin. But honestly, did we know who Anakin was as a character at that time? Not really. So he just followed the direction of his director, and I thought he did a really good job. Even as for someone who's 34 years old now and looking at those films 15 years ago, they still hold up to me. His performance still holds up. It plays out perfect to what they were trying to establish as a character. And you're right, Chris. His resurgence is amazing. The reception he got, watching that panel that he did with who was it that he was with next to him? Palpatine.
Ian McDiarmid.
Yeah, like just how the fans loved him and how receptive they were, and how Ian and him actually have a really good relationship. It's like, come on, man! Like, he's part of the Star Wars family. We should be embracing that, and we should be thankful and glad that Hayden wanted to come back. He could have easily said, "To hell with this! I'm done." He's like, y'all disrespected me. Y'all didn't appreciate my work. Nah, you know what? Y'all embraced me. Y'all love me. Y'all showed me that love. I'm coming back to give you more of myself as an actor to this character that he clearly loves.
Yeah,
like hats off to Hayden Christensen. I mean, look, I couldn't do that. I'd probably be salty, but I mean, good for you. I'm glad we're getting you back because I love him as an actor. I love him as that person playing this character.
I just can't wait to watch those behind the scenes videos, right? Many of them. I can't wait to watch the behind the scenes videos. There's many about Revenge of the Sith, him and Ewan McGregor just having a blast, just laughing, hitting each other. Like, there's so many of those videos online. I can't wait to see that happen. And for Kenobi, I can't wait to see like the first meeting. Hopefully they capture us, like the first meeting of Dave Filoni was sitting down with Hayden Christensen and just like talking about everything about the Clone Wars and everything about that. Like, damn, just saying that, I'm like, crap, man, I'm starting to feel the feels here. Just like,
that's what I'm
talking
saying.
about
like,
freaking animated
stuff, man.
Anakin and real life Anakin in front of Dave Filoni. Like, who would ever think he would get the opportunity to like write one of his animated characters and speaking to the guy that brought him to life? Like, that is freaking powerful, man.
I'll add on to that. Could you imagine this? And I'm just throwing it out there. I'm hoping it's already happened. Could you imagine if George Lucas was on that set with Hayden, with Ewan McGregor, with Filoni and Favreau, helping create some of these stories? Like, George Lucas, he knows that relationship. He helped mold Filoni into creating that character animation-wise. Also, could you imagine if Matt Lanter was used as a consultant to say, hey, this is what Anakin was doing during this time, especially when they do the Clone Wars stuff. I mean, do you imagine having those 5 or 6 people in the same room? Like, look, I'm getting goosebumps now.
I know, I'm getting goosebumps.
I just want to see that table read or those consulting meetings, because I'm telling you, I will eat it up all day, every day.
Well, the thing is with that, just I guess not a few months ago anymore, but back on May the 4th this year, Ewan literally said he, just got done filming something really special with someone special, or however he said it. So it's like, was that him filming his first scene back with Hayden? That, and for the Kenobi show even. So like, it's just like you guys said, it's just, there's so many potential opportunities. I hope we get hours of behind the scenes extras like the old prequels DVDs did. Like
they're going to
those were amazing, just because like there's so many potential opportunities, like you said, Milton, for Lucas potentially. I'm gonna say it, like, I think it's a given. George Lucas probably was on set or will be on set for some of the Ahsoka show, like just as a guest, popping in, because I mean, look, he stopped in to see Grogu and Ahsoka for Mando. So, and that wasn't even directly Filoni, like for the whole series. That was just for that one episode. So now that Filoni has a series, I think there's a chance for that.
Has to.
Yeah.
I mean,
and then
he has to. Like, I mean, I'm sorry to interrupt. I'm just excited about this because
you're good.
Like, Filoni, I've always said it, like, without George, he wouldn't even be here. You know what I'm saying? Like, George is the one that kind of gave him that knowledge and helped even progress his career. You know what I mean? And look, I'll give you another scenario. Could you imagine these 4 people in the same room? Rosario Dawson, Ashley Eckstein, Matt Lanter, Hayden, all consulting about that relationship. And seeing that like behind it. Dude, seeing that behind the footage, man. Ooh, I'm getting hyped talking about it now. It's crazy.
Yeah, like,
love it.
See, like that type of stuff would be great. And also, I think another big thing that's going to help Hayden a lot for Kenobi and Ahsoka specifically, especially Ahsoka, is the overall directing. Just because the reason Hayden had, a lot of people have problems with him in the prequels, is directly having to do with the pacing and editing of those movies. Right. Because look at Attack of the Clones, for example. You go from Kenobi versus Jango Fett fist fighting, boom, and it's literally like hitting a brick wall. You cut to Anakin and Padme in the meadow sitting there talking, no music, just talking. Like the pacing of that movie is what basically jacks up Hayden's performance, in my opinion, just because you go from hard cuts of Obi Wan and Jango to Anakin and Padme. So like those type of things, I think are going to for sure be resolved, because for one, you can't have those type of pacing issues on a show that's only going to be like 40 minutes long. Yeah. So
they better be longer than that. They better be hour-long episodes.
If there's only going to be 6, yeah.
Yeah, Kenobi's an hour long each, so we're good there. But the I don't think we have to worry about pacing when it comes to with Filoni or even Deborah Chow, because they're both phenomenal directors for those series. So I just think it's going to translate really well to the screen. And as you said, Milton, like they're probably, I'm sure, consulting with the voice actors, and like even Ashley, like, basically gave her blessing back before Rosario was, when Rosario was cast, like Ashley gave her blessing for it, like, which was great. So all of those type of things are excellent, and to me, that it's going to just make this that much better compared to what it could be. Like, would we rather have an Ahsoka and Kenobi show without Hayden Christensen just because of some backlash 20 years ago, or would we rather embrace a lot of like the positivity that's came around the prequels lately and just roll with it? Like, and the thing is, at the end of the day, what's released on screen is like the final product. Like, we're super hyped about it right now.
Yeah.
But it's like the whole thing. It's like the whole thing at the end of the day, like with fans and like sports, for example. We're all sports fans here. We can all be hyped about the number 1 overall draft pick. But once they get out on the field and perform, if they don't perform well, we'll have a problem with it. And like if Hayden goes out there and stinks it up, which I don't think he will, I mean, I'll be the first one to say he stunk it up. Like, So my thing about it is, like, I think it just has such high potential. I don't think it'll fail. Like, I think it's almost fail-proof.
It's a given.
Yeah.
It's a given.
To me, it's like, it's the whole thing of like draft picks in sports. Like, you have players that are like booms or bust. Like, they're either going to be really good or really bad. This has such a high floor. Like, even at its lowest, it'll still be really good, in my opinion.
Yeah,
like,
guys. No, I was just gonna cut in real quick about just imagining, and I'll let you finish the thought because it's nothing urgent, but it's just like if we're getting 6 hour, in 1 hour, episodes, right? We're basically getting the entire prequel trilogy released on Disney Plus from that perspective, right? Like it's like
Love
three
it.
2 hour movies. Boom. It's like equal. We're gonna get that much more content between Obi Wan and Anakin. That's just with
Yeah.
Obi
You're
Wan
not
and
wrong. You're
Anakin.
not wrong. Yeah, you're not wrong, dude. Like, here's the thing. Now, I know they said it's a limited series or just whatever. My hope is that they at least give us 2 seasons, like to tell this story. I mean, I'm not saying they can't do it in one, but imagine if it's that fire, let's get this in at least another like 2 series. I remember they said it's about Mando. Like they were saying, oh, this is gonna be a limited series, whatever. Then we got a season 2 announcement like later, like that end of that finale, and it's like
Well,
work, like
look
let's
at
go.
Loki. Look at Loki. They heavily, to me, sure, they didn't technically come out and say it was a 1 season show, but to me,
But
based on the
they
way they talked,
insinuated it. Yeah.
they heavily implied it was a 1 season show. Like
Yes.
they heavily implied
Mm-hmm.
that. So the thing is, we could get to the end of the Kenobi show and it'd be like, boom, at the end of it, like, I don't know, say Kenobi season 2. Like that's all you have to do and people will go crazy. But
Yep.
to me, with Star Wars, if there's a Kenobi season 2, they would never put it at the
Damn
end of
right.
the credits. Never. And I'd be willing to bet every penny I'll ever make that they would never write Kenobi season 2 at the end of
No.
those credits, because that's Star Wars. And I hate sounding cynical like that, but it's just
But
it's
you're right
facts.
though. They'll announce that at a convention.
Yeah, yeah. Like to me, it's like just get people hyped. Like Marvel's always hyping people up. Like at the end of every one of their projects, like heck, half the time they have 2 post-credit scenes.
Yeah.
Like to me with Star Wars, it's like get people hyped like that. Like that's the fun part about it, and that's why Marvel right now is like booming so hard, because fans can speculate. Fans know we know what's coming. Look at Spider-Man No Way Home. We pretty much know Tobey Maguire's and all these characters in it from the old Spider-Man. Like it's great, but with Star Wars, like the only way we find out about this stuff is if it like hardcore leaks, like Rosario Dawson posting it or something. Like other than that, we don't hear it from them specifically. Like that's why, to me, earlier, Chris, when you were talking about this story just coming out, I think the reason Hollywood Reporter reported it, because Hollywood Reporter and Deadline, they're not going to go out and just undercut Lucasfilm hardcore, because that's they have relationships with them. So I bet you anything, whoever it was, like the PR person at Lucasfilm, basically said, "Hey, we know this is going to leak or something, so just put it out there."
Yeah.
Like I think that's why, because, and they would rather have it come from Deadline or Hollywood versus rinky-dink like Gus gas station movie reviews.com, like John Campea always says, like some rinky-dink little blog or something. Like they'd rather have it from a verified source, so there's no speculation, and just like get it out there and get ahead of it.
Right, because I think it was kind of funny during the most recent version of Gallery, The Mandalorian, Luke Skywalker reveal, whatever the heck those episodes are called. He literally, Jon Favreau comes out, looks at the camera, is like, "Yeah, we know everything leaked but Luke," and we just kind of went with it. So it's that same situation. It's like, crap. Hayden's out there. We're gonna just kind of let them do their thing. Let those outlets put it out there. Not anything we could do anymore. I don't know how this stuff keeps getting out, frankly.
Yeah. Well, to me, that also begs the question. Okay, so that leaked about Ahsoka. It also pretty much leaked about. I mean, we knew, based on what Kathleen said, we knew him being in the Kenobi show. Like all these leaks for Kenobi and Ahsoka in general. Like let's just say Ahsoka. Okay, so if they got out ahead of this, like say if Hayden getting out is similar to Tamara Morrison getting out for Mando, like could they just surprise us all? Like we're kind of like guessing Luke's in it, but what if Luke is actually in it, like for like 2 episodes or something, like helping Ahsoka on a mission? Like, maybe that could be a big thing, because I think as things leak, more and more things, like bigger things, get hidden, in my opinion. So I think it's going to be something along those lines where we get that. Or who knows, maybe the big leak for the Ahsoka show was just the Thrawn news, like earlier, Rosario leaking it. Like maybe that was the big thing. But I feel like with these shows, we're always having something bigger and bigger and bigger leak. Like, there's been different leaks and different crazy things about the book of Boba Fett coming out lately, like different stuff about that, you know, and those type of things that come out like about shows like Boba, it always begs the question, like, okay, what are these leaks leading to? And what are what's like this Hayden leak? What's it leading to? Is it leading to the big Luke, Ahsoka, Anakin meetup, powwow campfire setup thing? Like, is that what we're leading up to?
Oh man. Yeah, so much awesomeness coming down the pipe. Again, not official news. Take this with a grain of salt. But if we look at prior reports for The Mandalorian season 2, especially, I believe that the Hollywood Reporter definitely had a hand or two in a few of those big reports, whether it be Ahsoka or Boba Fett or whoever else was rumored in there. Bo-Katan maybe I think was even thrown in there at one point. So we're gonna look upon this with great interest, as Palpatine would say, on the career with great interest or whatever that goes. But yeah, any final thoughts on this?
Overall, I mean, like I said, it's a great thing that Hayden's coming back officially in a live action capacity. I love it. Again, it's just something that I think we need to appreciate as fans looking back on this, 20 years from now, and just to say that, hey, Hayden decided to come back and give the fans something that we probably didn't even deserve, and I appreciate it. Like I said, I'm just very thankful and glad that I am born in a time where I can see stuff like this. So I love it. Can't wait to see these shows in the next year or so.
Yeah, I mean, I echo pretty much everything you said, Milton. Like, I'm super excited. It's great. It's a great time to be a Star Wars fan. I've been saying this since Disney purchased Star Wars. Like, it's a great time to be a Star Wars fan. And even if you're not, it's a great time to start being a Star Wars fan, because Star Wars is always ever expanding. And this just shows, like, again, I can give Star Wars props where props is due. Like, I've been highly critical of how things have been ran there over the past few years, but this and Hayden being in the Kenobi series, it's a sign of them being self-aware, like being aware of what fans want. Like, you don't have to listen to everything the fans say. It's the whole saying of, like, if you listen to everything the fans say, you're going to end up in the stands with the fans. Like, you'll be fired. So, like, they can tell their story, but also take what the fans want. And the fans wanting Hayden back, like, that's perfect. And it's perfect because he's not going to be just the main character. Like, it's still the Ahsoka show or the Kenobi show. So he'll be good as a supporting character, which is an interesting thing, we didn't really bring up too much. The prequels, it can be argued he was more of a main character for Attack of the Clones and Revenge of the Sith. So, like, it's going to be interesting seeing him more as a supporting role versus a lead. So, yeah, overall, I think it's really good. Good self-awareness by Star Wars and Disney and Lucasfilm. And I just can't wait to see just his overall chemistry with Rosario on screen. And then, of course, his chemistry with Ewan McGregor. Like, that's, like, we're all hyped for the Ahsoka stuff. Man, yeah. Seeing him with Ewan it's gonna bring tears to everybody's eyes when we see it. Like, it's gonna be wild, I think. But yeah, overall, I think it's really great news, and I'm super excited to hear more about it as we get more information. And one final thing, I think another reason, to bounce off my prior point, and I think another reason why we got this information from Hollywood Reporter to begin with, potentially, maybe it wasn't going to leak, maybe they were going to put it out on Disney Plus, like something like a little talking segment on the Disney Plus day or something on the 12th of November. Like, maybe we're going to get some type of Ahsoka news on there, or maybe on the Star Wars YouTube channel or something. Like, maybe we're going to get some type of news here in the next 2-3 weeks about more of the upcoming projects like Ahsoka, Kenobi, Andor, et cetera, et cetera. Like, maybe it's going to be something along those lines. We'll see a slate, like something Star Wars fans always want. It's like, give us a slate.
Yeah, so I think we can maybe expect a confirmation on November 12th. I don't know anything. I'm just saying, hey, that's a good time to get in front of something and be like, hey, we're going to just say, you like him in Obi Wan? Go watch him in Ahsoka next. There you go. But yeah, it's fantastic. We got something on the horizon. It's these leaks that keep us talking, because when Lucasfilm doesn't say much, that's when these things kind of happen. It's almost like, is Lucasfilm kind of doing this themselves a little bit? It's like a whole big game. But yeah, I'm super stoked about Hayden Christensen and just seeing everything come together, seeing prequels coming into the sequel era, I guess, or post Return of the Jedi is going to be very neat for Ahsoka. Seeing a possibility of, hey, is there anything with Thrawn and with Ezra, with Anakin, with his ghost, knowing about all those things, Anakin knowing about what's happening after his death. There's just such crazy metaphysical stuff that could be done as well. But that is going to do it for episode number 31 of Outer Transmissions. This week, you could check out more comic book reviews. And what can you guys, can everybody expect from you guys on Twitter? I'm guessing some NFL talk, right?
Yeah, you can hear. Yeah, look, my team's been bad all year, so you'll hear me talk about how trash the Eagles organization is, how trash our coach is, just how bad we're just trash, dude. So.
Yeah, and for me, Browns are doing a little bit better, but they're struggling and scraping by. So you can find me like talking NFL, talking about Star Wars, fitness, other movie franchises or shows like Another Life or Dune or things like that, just at Real Ben Maynard. And that's pretty much where you can find me at. Real Twitter and Instagram, same handle.
Yep, and make sure to find Milton at Milton Weber 7, and you can also find me, of course, at Starrapter, and we do go live every Friday at 9 o'clock. Catch us live, and we also have T-shirts for sale at teespring.com. You search Outer Transmission, you'll find various styles there to help support the channel for things like when we go to conventions and whatnot. That'll help with costs of stickers and other kind of marketing stuff for you guys out there. So that is going to do it for me, for Milton, for Ben, for Outer Rim Transmission number 31 in transmission. Alrighty.